lunatic away. Goering spoke to everyone and no one in particular.
Dolfo thinks I don't know he still flies combat missions, despite my express orders.
And he arched his eyebrows significantly.
And those of the Führer. What are we to make of him, eh? How many is it now?
Galland's heart sank. Although he expected word of his insubordination would eventually reach Goering, he'd hoped the fog of war might protect him a little longer, and he bridled at Goering's use of a nickname acquired from fellow officers, comrades he held in high regard. Admit nothing, Galland told himself. Stand up to the man. Don't quake like a schoolboy in the headmaster's study. He isn't going to have a hero of the Reich taken out and shot. Not today, at any rate.
The Reichsmarschall knows I would never defy an order, least of all from the Führer, unless the circumstances were critical to my squadron, the base, or my country, and I was unable to directly communicate with him prior to takeoff.
Goering frowned and seemed intent on continuing their verbal joust, but before it could escalate to dangerous proportions, he was distracted. A high-pitched rushing sound from outside of the building made them all turn towards the window.
"Here she is!"
cried one of the technicians. Galland stepped forward to witness the demonstration, and he was almost too late. Such was the speed of the object hurtling towards them. To this master of aerial combat, the little silver vessel was a shocking sight. To begin with, it was far smaller than any aeroplane Galland had ever seen. The tiny craft seemed barely capable of accommodating a man, and the space-age object had no propellers. Galland was aware of experimental work on jet propulsion engines. The concept was hardly a new one, but the reality always seemed to reside in a far-off future land. Despite this, the new prototype flew by the watchtower at an impossible speed, making the windows rattle as it screeched by. One of the scientists punched the air exuberantly, and there was unrestrained cheering from his colleagues. Galland merely stared in open-mouthed astonishment. Adolf Galland was not prone to incredulity, but even he could not contain his wonder.
"What in heaven's name was that?"
Goering had never looked more smug or superior, as if he had personally invented a method for turning base metal into gold.
"That, Galland,"
he enunciated the word slowly for maximum effect,
"that is the future."
Chapter 1. The woods are lovely, dark, and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep. Robert Frost. Even in the subdued glow of the moonlight, Emma could see the fear in the Frenchman's eyes.
"How much further?"
asked Etienne Dufoy. His hand gripped Emma's shoulder as he peered at her through thick lens glasses.
"Have we lost?"
"Not far now."
She tried to sound reassuring.
"We are close to the landing zone. You must be quiet."
Etienne did not seem entirely happy with the young girl's answer. Reluctantly, he released his grip and turned his head from her. As the owlish eyes became downcast, he tried to contain his fear.
"Don't worry, Etienne."
She smiled at him then.
"This time tomorrow you will be in London, drinking scotch and complaining about the weather, just like an Englishman."
Etienne managed a weak smile in response. They had stopped again on this mud track, for what seemed like the 100th time, listening for a sound that should not be there. The path snaked its way over the fields and through the dense woodland that covered this little corner of Normandy. Every noise was amplified by the stillness of the night. The constant stop-start was beginning to unnerve the resistance leader. Emma looked at Etienne again. He seemed more like a frightened office clerk than one of the most wanted men in France. Maybe even the fearless Etienne Dufoy could feel fear. And who could blame him after an interrogation at the Avenue Foch, the Gestapo HQ in Paris? Etienne Dufoy knew the names and code names of resistance fighters in the capital and had personally set up cells all over France. His capture could have been a disaster. But somehow he had found the courage to elude his captors, jumping from a moving truck on his way to Fresnes prison.